Oh, they're going crazy on Rush Street. DePaul wins in Chicago. That's already 2 conference wins. Guys, that was like a season worth of wins a few years ago. Chris Holtman's got this thing turned around. And welcome into you guys out there on TNT Sports College Basketball Postgame Show. I'm Tim Doyle alongside Seth Davis, Jamal Mashburn, Dennis Scott. That was something I don't really know what to say. Georgetown made 1 field goal in the second half, and DePaul figures out a way to take care of business. I'll repeat that. They made 1 field goal in the second half, the entire team, against this DePaul defense. This DePaul defense is good. Was it better defense or just bad offense this game?
Well, it was definitely both. I think we would all probably lean to the bad offense. I'm sure Ed Cooley feels that way. Nobody should ever get you to shoot that way. But listen, give DePaul credit. They are definitely comfortable in the rock fight, and that is the identity. You know, we heard NJ just talking about this, that's how they're going to win. They're not going to try to beat people. They're not going to be able to beat people 85-80, 80-75. You want it to be in the 60s. You want it to be in the 50s. And then you want it to be close. And there's a muscle that develops, a muscle memory that develops over time when you play in multiple close games. So they're going to be going up against teams that are going to be able to make more than 1 shot and a half. But if they can manage pace, take care of the basketball, maybe win the free throw line, and get it close to the last few minutes, maybe you steal one here or there.
that was, you know what? Let me be positive here. When I looked at Georgetown, and we talked about their guards earlier, but I heard something on the broadcast where Ed Cooley went into halftime and said they need 8 assists. I look at the stat sheet, they finished with 4. To me, what that says is that you got guards that can play, but when they're not making shots, they're not making plays for others. They got to figure that part out. DePaul was sensational on the defensive end, but also I think Georgetown was at a particular place where the guards actually helped them out. They could not finish plays at times. They were offensive rebound, even though they got some puts back there with KJ Lewis. And he played well at 18 points, but wasn't efficient. 5 for 17 from the floor, 7 rebounds, but no assists. I think they really got to figure out on their offensive end how they're going to play together and share the ball. And when you're not making baskets, I think it's awfully hard to get an assist, but somebody needs to figure out how can they have a cohesive unit, especially when they got the big guy back now. I think he's going to help them down the road, but that was not pretty on both ends from DePaul or Georgetown.
Yeah, they came into this game, 3D, Georgetown averaging only 9 turnovers a game, so they're taking good care of the ball. We're struggling shooting the 3. They only averaged 6 made threes. They were the worst 3-point shooting team in the Big East. But tonight, only 1 made 3-pointer. And, you know, they just had massive issues on offense.
It really was, but let's give Benson a lot of credit, because the reason I was giving him credit for listening, because it's the details in that rock fight. We're not making shots. We're not going to score 80 points. So Coach said if we don't start playing better defense in the second half, we're going to run. So big fella said, let me get this big dunk at the end of the half to get my team going, and then 10 big-time rebounds in the second half. He was 1 of 3 in the first half, and he finished 4 of 8. So everything was done to Seth's point in a rock fight, in the post. And then finally, Georgetown couldn't make a shot, and they just made enough shots. So in that rock fight, you got to have somebody to set the tone, and Benson did that tonight in the second half.
Let's go back to Jamal.
Stay positive.
You try to stay positive, right?
I will pick up what we talked about early on. And one thing I want to know is how much practice has Vincent Iwuchukwu had? When you're talking about, now they haven't said it's a heart issue, but it's not hard to connect that dot.
Right.
When you're talking about a heart issue, you have to be careful about the stress that you put on it.
Correct.
While you're out, and then there's a whole lot of testing that goes on to see whether you're ready. So he was in the lineup. Obviously, he was not the same player he was before he went out. I think it's going to take him some time to get there. So they may be too far behind the 8 ball. I mean, I've talked earlier about how the selection committee works. They certainly evaluate personnel, but there's got to be a pretty significant difference. Now, they have a win over Clemson early in the season with him in the lineup. Clemson keeps winning, so that win has gotten a lot better. But if you're looking for a ray of hope here, we're trying to do our best here for the Hoyas after it was a really bad night. You do have the big fella back, and you didn't know when he went out if he was ever going to come back. So that gives you something to build on. We're not the same team that we've been the last 6-7 weeks. Let's try to be better moving forward, get him up to speed. Maybe you start looking like the team that beat a Clemson squad that is in position to compete for an ACC championship.
Yeah, well, whenever someone comes back from injury, right, there's adjustment, roles change, and you got to try to get him involved. And because to Seth's point, if they're going to make any noise, he has to be effective on the floor.
But for a player like him, his role doesn't change. He's a runner and a shot blocker. You can plug and play with that any particular time. I think it comes down to their guards, and they're going to have to figure out how to make shots, because as you move forward in the Big East play and you get scouted,
right?
I'm just trapping the guards. That's what I'm going to do. Trap the guards, get them out of the game, and let other people beat you. That'll be the recipe and the formula that I would use. But they got some holes and they got some digging to do. But I know Ed Cooley personally, and I think he's going to have them motivated to learn from this particular experience. But they're going to have to get some results.
Go.
No,
Run out of time,
once again, Georgetown won.
One more comment.
We're running out of time. We got to go. My producer said we got to
only made
go.
one field goal in the second half. Never seen anything like it. Let's go to Indianapolis, where the Johnnies, you hate to say a must-win game in January, but you cannot drop this game. Butler and Hinkle, the Bulldog.
That attacked Andy Katz, by the way.
Okay,
Those two ever make up?
Butler in transition, Finley Bizjack.
Stop it,
He
pop.
buries the three. But Dennis, right before the half, big bucket here for St. John's.
Yeah, baseline drive, baseline drift, or should I say slide, knock it down.
Ruben Prey, the 6'11 sophomore, buries that three, and then Mash. St. John's really started to pick up that momentum in the second half.
Yeah, it's defense that creates their offense. I mean, they have to be in transition, get deflection, and get steals to get out in the open court, because at half court, they really struggle because they don't really have a legit lead guard that can get them in sets. They play through their forwards quite a bit.
You see Zuby Ejiofor there. He had the finish. He's been wildly consistent this year. The rest of the team has been up and down a little bit more. Oh, a little pressure from Rick Pitino there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think he's just trying to junk it up a little bit. He's trying to find ways to get guys engaged in the game and everything like that. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they fall as they move forward. They're probably sitting at that 4th seed right now. I'm questioning to see if they make the tournament based upon their resume.
Well, something to build off here, St. John's in this game, Dennis. They only had 5 total turnovers because this is a squad that does not have a true point guard.
Right.
And they have tried everything to figure out who their point guard is going to be. When you look at the full screen of the Big East standings, if we could put those up once again, it's UConn and kind of everybody else. But the everybody else is right now Villanova, Seton Hall, Creighton. What gets you excited about the Big East?
Well, it's actually Seton Hall. Like, Shaheem Holloway team, they're playing to his personality.
Oh, Mash loves them.
Right? It's like, same thing we're trying to say with St. John's. Like, we know what Rick Pitino's going to bring to the table, but he cannot find the right guard to run the show. Whereas Shaheem Holloway is the other way around. He doesn't have a whole lot of talent, but he has the right 6 guys that play to his personality. They scrap, they play hard, they make open shots when they need to. And if you don't play the right way, they beat you.
But one thing I like about Seton Hall is they play a lot of guys. They face you up. They guard you full court. They create turnovers. They're in passing lanes. They play with a sense of toughness and togetherness. Imagine if Shaheem Holloway had a bigger budget for NIL.
Yeah.
I think we'd be correct.
There you go.
I think we'd be talking about them competing at a higher level right below UConn at a consistent basis, because I think the kids love to play for him. He holds you accountable, plays a fast break style of basketball with toughness. So I really like what he's done with not a whole lot.
Yeah, and the 2 other teams in the top tier, Villanova. By the way, don't sleep on Creighton. This team is playing better basketball. They almost won at Seton Hall, ended up losing that game by 2 points. They had a freshman, Hudson Greer, one of the top recruits in school history. Greg McDermott was going to redshirt him to start the season. A couple of games in and say, hey, we need this guy. We don't have enough and he is a super talented player. He got hurt. He just came back. And then they also brought in transfers, in particular Owen Freeman from Iowa, who was coming off an injury from last year. He has not played well, but he's starting to get things going. Nick Graves is starting to get things going. In a year where this is maybe a little more vintage Big East, they might be stuck in that middle tier, but they're right in the thick of things right now with that 3-1 record.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't think there is a second best team in the Big East, but I do think that Creighton is an NCAA tournament caliber team, and I might not have said that 2 weeks ago.
Well, we got to give the props to Villanova. I know we've seen them a lot. Bryce Lindsey's been outstanding. I think he's like a mini.
Don't you start.
Mini Steph Curry.
Start.
Mini Steph Curry.
I'm gonna go Mike Bibby. I told you.
I think right now, as far as Conference Player of the Year, not saying he's it, but he's in the conversation for it right now because Villanova, they have an identity. They share the ball, they shoot the three. Duke Brennan's going to rebound and dive.
Rebounding team.
They actually know who they are, which is crazy because Kevin Willard just got the job there.
Well, the other thing is Kadian Lewis, the freshman point guard. Listened to an interview last time we were up here, and he talked about how Devin Askew has been that leader in his ear and helping him slow the game down. So they have veteran leadership guys that have played in Devin Askew. But from also the way I look at it as well, you know, you got to look at a coach like Kevin Willard. Look what he did with Maryland. He took them to the tournament. I mean, I think he can do the same thing with Villanova. I mean, they have some players, they spread it out, they can rebound, they can play defense. They can
make a shot.
Correct. That's important.
And what's that thing next to you over there?
Oh, over here, what, the bag?
That's why he left Maryland to go to Villanova, because he knew he could get better bags. He had to deal with no more football. And now that's why he, to your point, that's why he was able to go out with key, not big pieces, key pieces that say, you know what, if I go here, I might get this. This bag's a little bit bigger and the team's a little bit better. And it makes sense, and that's why this team's rolling.
Last question for you.
Yes.
How many Big East teams in March get in over and under 3.5?
I think they'll get 4. I do. I think one way or another, you got to get 37 at-large teams. And so when you get to the end of that list, it can be a little bit thin. And there seems to be, you know, a real kind of bifurcation in the league, right? So I think there are wins to be had that might not be there in other years. You got to get 37 at-large teams in the field. I think 4 right now. I won't say it's a minimum for the Big East, but I think that's the likely number.
All right, Jamal Mashburn Classic, 2 of his favorite teams, Duke and Louisville. They play tonight. If you had to pick who you like better,
neither
who would it be, man?
I'm going Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Louisville. I can't go Duke, man.
Wow.
But even though UK is in Duke, you know, sometimes.
Well, you got Cam Boozer, Ryan Conwell. Those guys were outstanding. Conwell had a huge first half. He had 16 points, 4 of 7 from 3. There's Cameron Boozer with the step-back 3. He had 14 points. He was 6 of 7 in the first half. But, Seth, this was all Louisville in the first half.
Yeah, it sure was. I think they had Duke back on their heels, and Conwell was really, really good. Remember, Louisville playing without their outstanding freshman point guard, Mikal Brown, out with a back injury. And I think as the game went on, Louisville's lack of depth and inside defense proved pivotal.
Yeah, Cameron Boozer. It was all Boozer in the second half, 27 big points. Duke, 40 points in the paint. Cameron Boozer, number 1, Mash?
No, A.J. Debanza. And then I'm taking Peterson, number 2 at Kansas. And I might even think about the kid in North Carolina at the number 3 pick. I like Cam Boozer. I'm not. When I watched him play against Texas Tech and they lost in the Garden, I thought he had trouble finishing over length against J.T. Toppin. So for him to be the number 1 pick, I know his dad really well, but you know I think he's a 5th or 6th. But at the NBA level, you got to be a little bit more athletic.
You might be off the Christmas card list.
I never was on.
We got more highlights next. Michigan was in Happy Valley. Did they leave Happy Valley happy? This game went right down the wire. Come back for more.